Session 418. I am the one who should do the psycho study from inside. Rob said, yes, Seth. They said, what it is like to speak through rubber. Now, that has never been done. Rob said, okay, why don't you do it? They said, there are psycho adventures in my system also. Rob said, it would make a great chapter. They said, I had much more than a mere chapter in mind. I had a complete book in mind, though not of great length. It would involve the various mechanics necessary for such communications on my part. The necessary preliminaries in order to make Rupert aware of my presence initially. Rob said, sounds great. They said the problems involved in educating what your friends refer to as the butts, and the various interchanges between you, Rupert, and myself. It would include the ways in which perceptive mechanisms operate, the manners by which I must activate Rupert's associative patterns in the case of clairvoyant information, and what your life looks like to me who observes it from such a unique perspective. Such a book would be written during our sessions, however, dictated by me, for our friend Rupert would not let me inside his own writing hours. Rob said, that sounds like a fine idea. They said, I thought you would be interested. Rob said, so would Rupert. They said, there would be unity, of course, and this would take care of the organization of our material, do you see? Rob said, yes. They said, it would all be done, however, from my viewpoint. Rob said, fascinating. They said, I thought I would come to your assistance, for such a book would solve many problems. It would take care of the session's organization, for one thing. Rob said, yes. It would also be unique. They said, I would indeed. It has not been done before, in such a way, to my knowledge. Rob said, I don't believe so. They said, we would enjoy such an inside-out arrangement. Give us a moment. It is obvious that such an arrangement could not have been made before, since Rupert would not have been ready, nor, I believe, even agreeable. There is no reason why other such books could not follow. I have the time. The first book would, of course, introduce me, and it would involve a study of mediumship, not from the viewpoint of the medium, but from the viewpoint of the personality for which she speaks. It would involve a look and an examination of your system of reality, as it appears to me. It would include my statements as to how these communications take place, and what manipulations are necessary from my side. Such a book would do much to explain how the medium is led, wherever possible, to make those correct statements that add up to almost what your parapsychologists like to call a hit, for she is almost literally hit with them. I would, of course, provide the reader with a statement of my own background, and to some extent compare my attitudes toward your system of reality, for when I lived within it, my opinions were far different than they are now. I would make clear the nature and the conditions in which I now have my existence, and explain some of the reasons for the various, often contradictory, statements made concerning life after death, statements received by various mediums in which quite different pictures of afterlife reality are received. Such a book would also include, of course, my methods of entry into your Satan and the sort of psychological bridge personality that results. For what you have during sessions is not really my complete identity. Your reality cannot include all that I am. There must be some sort of psychological structure present for me to use during my communications, generally speaking. At times, however, my identity comes through, and my reality, so clearly that comparatively speaking, I can exist independently as myself without Ruber's usual assistance. All of this, of course, would be explained in detail. Ruber could, if he chose, add his own notes and comments, for his experience in our sessions is vastly different from mine. Such a book would have nothing whatsoever to do with Ruber's writing, which should progress at its own rate. This book would bear my name, but I would dedicate it. Rod said, "That's nice." They said to the both of you, "And any profits would be yours. I have little need of them." Rod said, "Well, I am sure Jane would like to know what she would be writing while you are giving us this book." They said, "Give us a moment here. The man at Prentice Hall." Rob noted 10. They said, "Simply overstepped. As you both suspect, there seems to be another man involved also, who is cautious, besides the woman referred to in the phone call. J.A.B. These letters simply come to me. I do not know if they refer to the man. I believe there is an Alice connected with your Mr. Mossman." Rob added, "Alice?" I didn't quite catch Seth's pronunciation. They said, "Alice." The name Grossman also comes to mind, but I do not know the connection. Mossman has an uncle, I believe, of whom he is fond, or was fond. The name Auburn comes to mind. A 1962 engagement or marriage. A fragment from the past pertaining to a child. An initial encounter with the business world that was unpleasant. Mr. Mossman has a tendency to go overboard. A grandmother and a connection with a star. I do not know the connection. Perhaps her name was Bright. 2 brothers and something wrong with one leg. A disagreeable, I believe, family situation in 1953 for him. A mild astonishment or surprise for him, having to do with something French or foreign. Miss Carr, a spectacular enough achievement early in life, I believe. 2 daughters or 2 women close to her. The name Fred. 34. A telling advancement. An unknown quantity 3 years ago. Connection with a W. Brown chair and orchids. Something about the lower right-hand desk drawer. We do not have clearly. Someone who visits her office seems to smoke cigars, and place them in an ashtray on her desk. Connection with racing cars. You had better take your break. The bottle of the party. She must worry about weight. The introductory book is still an excellent idea, and a challenge to Ruber's own ability. He needs the challenge, and I am sure that he will meet it. It is far stranger than fiction, and if he will but see, such a book carries its own built-in suspense. Now, my book will necessarily have some things in it that will not be new to you, but it will have much information of which you have little or no knowledge now. It will be quite an original document. It may have the air of a series of lectures, but I shall see to it that they are interesting ones. I will add whatever is needed in the nature of demonstrations as we go. There is no reason why Rupert cannot work on his own book simultaneously and from his viewpoint. He should return to his poetry, however, and his painting as a hobby. These are his strong points, and the painting represents more than he realizes, for he has a talent for it from previous experience. Now I have an experiment for you. You may not think much of it, but try it. When you are bothered by noise and tumult, by traffic and the sound of neighbors' voices, by long moors and other irritating sounds, try this. Do not fight them. Purposely plunge into them. Go along with them as action, and they can refresh you. Ra said, I was thinking about that today. They said, do it as an act of will, and your intuitions, oddly enough, will be refreshed. They need not serve automatically as inhibiting factors unless you allow them to. But it is not enough in your case to ignore them and despise them. Let them work for you. If done in the correct spirit, this will help free your intuitive nature, and to a large extent help wash away automatic blocks that have been inhibiting. Ra said, okay. They said, you do not have to be afraid of going along with what these sounds represent. You will not lose your sense of isolation nor your individuality. This is basically behind your reaction, having to do with your early life. You felt your mother's liveliness and vitality frightening, for it was not disciplined in any manner, but erratic. This was added to by the saint power of your father's inhibited vitality. You felt the combination could sweep you aside, and literally destroy you. Undirected vitality and undisciplined vitality has frightened you, and noise to you represents the tumultuous, undisciplined emotions that you feared. The exercise will do much to override this, for you are strong enough and you need inner freedom. There is behind such seemingly undirected, abstract tumult and energy, direction that cannot be intellectually perceived, but can be intuitively sensed, and this is the force that is behind your own art and all creativity. It can even serve as a framework for creativity, for from these raw materials you can forge and direct energy for your own purposes. You can take that tumult and use it, but not if you set yourself up against it. Then it is frightening to you. Various sounds rush at you, from one inharmonious, high-pitched yell, for example. If you listen, you as an artist can sense the self that was forced to make that sound, perhaps emerge with a prize, an excellent portrait, or simply an unique and individual mouth, or a landscape that screams out as the voice did. From the sound, the assaulting, onrushing sound of traffic, if you listen, you can emerge with the prize, perhaps as abstract, with the pulsating sounds transferred to rhythm and color, or perhaps again a portrait here of a composite personality, driven, and yet behind it all the purpose which is not easily seen and the reason. I have given you a few examples, simply to clarify my remarks, but these evidences of action, apparently chaotic and undisciplined, are parts of inner frameworks that do have both purpose and reason. As you know, even your physical system reacts when you brace yourself against these things as irritations, but properly used, they can lead you to exaltations, and you will use such exaltations, then in a disciplined, directed manner. Rub at, is that why my left ear bothers me? They said, the struggle. Now you must not struggle, Joseph, to close out those stimuli that annoy you. Your mother has done this. Use them for your benefit. Those things that annoy you precisely represent the greatest challenges to your personality and abilities. Used, they can help you fulfill yourself to the utmost. There is no coincidence that it is the left ear involved. You have used the symbolism of right and wrong. The right ear, the wrong ear, bothers you for you do not want to hear what you consider the bad sounds. The left ear and the left portion of the body generally also are connected with the unconscious, and the sounds are somewhat connected with your feeling toward all points. Do you see the connection? Ralph said, yes, I have been doing a lot better with oils. They said, you have indeed, for you see now how they can be used, and you will see how the sounds can be used. The sounds can be used in your paintings like colors. A freedom will result from this exercise, though you may be uneasy at trying it. Ralph said, I'll try it. They said, crystallization follows crystallized experience. Art comes from raw emotion, within your system at least, that is then crystallized and disciplined. The simile chaotic is recognized, felt, and then put into patterns. What is not generally understood, however, is that the simile chaotic experiences do have purpose. The state of your inner physical organism, viewed from another perspective, is a chaotic one, but it works to find purpose. Do you have any questions? Ralph said, I think it's been extremely interesting and helpful. I will try these things and will soon know. They said, very good. It will help also at times if, when hearing various voices that have annoyed you in the past, you try to think of them in terms of images and colors. At other times, simply go along with them without such ideas, and your intuitions will deliver their own product. Ralph said, yes. They said, now, voice, by its definition, is aggressive, and it presupposes barriers, for you hear only within certain ranges. Now, imagine what these sounds would sound like from the other end. There, you cannot hear them. And imagine the impact made within space, and the infinite dance of atoms that result. Realize also, and I am sure that you do, that the sounds penetrate the matter of your body. Imagine their realities in other than auditory ways. You may take your break or end the session as you prefer. Ralph said, well, I guess we'll have to end it, though I hate to. It's been very good. They said, one note. Within your system, sounds do form structures that your eyes do not perceive. It will help you to think of painting these structures, for in some other systems, voice is perceived in this manner. Now, a musician translates visual data as though it was an auditory pattern, recreating, say, and interpreting a bowl of grapes as a particular medley of musical notes. You can do this in the opposite manner, building up from sounds visual frameworks that are completely original portraits, created from the sound of voices, even landscapes, elemental but fragile, built up from the ebb and flowing voice of traffic as it passes by your door. As an artist, use everything. Now I will say good evening and give you both my best wishes. You can consider this session as your birthday present. Ralph noted this session was held on June 24. My birthday is June 20. Rob asked, do you have birthdays? They said, very many. I could hardly keep track of them all. I do not have birthdays now, but I have had many. I had many dead days, but I do not have those now either. Rob said, good night, Seth.